and it is my pleasure to welcome to Compass FM, possibly not for the first time, but certainly for the first time, having a chat with me, Matt Ducey, MP for the Waimakariri District. Good morning, Matt. How are you? How are your family, mate?
Good morning, Kerry. Yeah, we're doing well, thank you. Firstly, thank you to your radio station for keeping our local communities connected. I'm pretty much like a lot of people out in the Waimak. I've been joking, home feels a bit like a mini Gloria Vale at the moment. My wife's homeschooling in one room because she's off work, and my daughter's off school and my son's off nursery, and I'm in the other room working from home. Well,
it's the big office in the Waimakariri District as far as national politics is concerned, Matt. Look, we reached out to you because you reached out to the community there a wee while ago. You actually did a pretty cool thing. You rang around a lot of businesses going, what can I do as far as the MP for the Waimakariri do for you? And we thought it would be a great idea to get you on the phone and say, what have people been able to ask you, or what have you been able to do for businesses around the Waimakariri community in your role?
Well, that's right, Kerry. For me as a local MP, it's very important to be as accessible as possible. So I sit on the Business Committee in Parliament, and that's a committee that oversees how Parliament operates, and it was very clear once we enacted the Epidemic Act that offices would be closed. So I moved my team to their respective houses and mine, so we're working virtually now, by email and by phone. And there's been a range of issues that have come through. Predominantly, first off, it was around what services could be deemed essential services. A lot of businesses confused by that, so we're working very hard with them to make sure that the services that should and could open were open. A lot of issues have come through around people concerned they weren't getting their right entitlements around the wage subsidies, so we're working with a lot of people around that to make sure they get the entitlements that they deserve. And just a range of welfare issues as well. For instance, we had a 70-year-old couple who unfortunately were halfway through a house move, and when it went into lockdown, the furniture and furnishings couldn't be delivered, and they were left at home with none of them, so we were able to go into bat for them to make sure that they were delivered to their house. So in the end, as a local MP, I'm hopefully as accessible as possible and just want to respond to the community's needs, because the stories I'm hearing, it's hard not to be moved by those stories, and there is a lot of hardship and will be going forward. So I think we all need to work together as a community to help each other out.
Absolutely, totally agree with that. And may I make an observation here, is that it doesn't matter what colour you are, red, blue, black or green or yellow, you are there for every single member of your particular electorate, and you go into bat for any reason whatsoever. I believe that a lot of people in New Zealand don't actually know that, because people that I speak to go, oh really, do you talk to the MP? Yes you do. That's why they're there for, to do things. So well done for you there, Matt. How is your team responding to the lockdown and working remotely? Have there been any issues with that?
Yeah, at first there's a lot of hesitation. We're using new technology. Of course, there's a platform now called Zoom, which not many of us had heard of before the lockdown, but now we probably consider ourselves experts at it. And I think once we start to trust that technology, a lot of the work we can facilitate remotely. And it's probably true, we've learned a lot how now technology is embedded in our lives. And we can do a lot by phone, we can do a lot by email, a lot by online platforms, but I do think once the lockdown is lifted, people do prefer face-to-face. And I know many people are saying we can do a lot more online and virtually, but I think for communities like Waimakariri, we're very parochial. That's how we responded post-earthquake so successfully. And I think once the lockdown ends, we're going to get back out and go to our local shops and back to our local community groups and just interact as we've always done.
I think you're absolutely right there. Just from a personal note, I can't wait to actually start standing in front of people and having a half-decent conversation about anything. It doesn't matter what at the moment, just getting that personal interaction going on again. And that brings me to the mental health sort of situation in regards, because I understand that you're the spokesperson for mental health in the opposition. What are your concerns regarding COVID-19 in that particular aspect?
That's right. I am the mental health spokesperson, and some people would know I had a career in mental health before I decided to get into politics. And it is concerning. There was a report out recently that was published in The Lancet. They did some research post other outbreaks, whether it be SARS, H1N1 and Ebola. And what it showed is the longer people stay in isolation or quarantine, there is a higher prevalence of mental distress. And the way to overcome that is obviously keeping connected in alternative means. So it's, whether we do it that by phone or online, as well as keeping a routine as much as possible and keeping our physical activity up, going for a daily walk or a bike. But it is concerning. We will see a growing mental distress in the community, and I suppose what we need to do, it's incumbent on all of us to look out for each of the other people in our street or our community, and just make sure that people are feeling a bit of pressure at this time, and to make sure we keep connected.
It's sort of like just be kind to people, be kind to the community.
Yeah, I agree, and I know we hear community leaders say that, and probably it's more pitched to the metropolitan areas, if I could be frank, because I do think in communities like Waimakariri and North Canterbury, we are quite parochial and we are kind as a default. So if anything, we just need to keep on doing what we're doing, I think. That's
absolutely brilliant. Now, look, if someone does need help from you, what's the best way? How's the best way of getting in contact with Matt Ducey, MP for Waimakariri?
Well, normally I'd joke then and say just when I'm loading the groceries into the back of the car with a couple of screaming kids, because